Greetings and salutations, your average rider here. Let's talk motorcycle flat tires. Well, I suppose this is a video I never planned on making. I went to go for a ride on my Bonneville one day and I had a flat tire in the rear. Filled it up with air and within a few hours it was flat again. I have a slow leak somewhere. So I guess you got a couple of options at this point in time. Depending on how close your nearest motorcycle dealership is where you can get a tube replaced and how fast your tire is leaking, you might be able to fill it up with air and drive directly there. Mine's far enough away that this was not an option for me. You could probably trailer the motorcycle in or put it in the back of a pickup truck and take it in, but still at this point in time you're going to have to pay for them to take your rear tire off, change the inner tube and put your rear tire on. The cheapest option obviously is to do that yourself. So this is what I decided to do, and let's get into it. Some motorcycles require the removal of the exhaust to get to the rear axle. My Bonneville is as such. I loosen the exhaust clamp and have to take off the rear pillion foot pegs, and then the exhaust comes off. Both sides need to come off the Bonneville. As you can see, I already have the motorcycle on the jack stand and the rear tire in the air. I place blocking under the rear tire so that when the axle comes out, the tire doesn't drop. Take the nut off and then the axle should slide right out. Pull the chain off to the side and pull the tire out. Make note of any spacers, washers, or whatnot to make sure you put it back the same way it came off. When I had taken the motorcycle tire into my Honda dealership, I asked them if they could have a look at the inner tube and see if they could determine why it had gone flat. And they actually did me one better. They returned the tube to me and they were able to show me where it had folded over on itself. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 folds here where the tire, the inner tube had folded over itself inside the tire, and then just from pressure of riding it had caused a small hole to wear out in the center, and then the air just leaked out of the spokes. Putting the wheel back on was slightly trickier than pulling it off, but while it was off I figured it was much easier to clean and remove as much of the chain lubricant as possible. I took the chain guard off as it made it easier to work with the chain, putting it back on. Now before the wheel goes back in, make sure every spacer, washer, and whatnot is in place where it belongs, because you won't get it in after the fact. I had to put on the chain and line up the rear brake before the axle could slide in. But once that's sorted out, it's easy. I tighten the axle nut a bit, but don't torque it down yet as the chain needs to be adjusted. The orange tool hanging off the chain is the True Tension Chain Monkey. I'm now adjusting the chain for proper tension and adjusting the alignment of the wheel. Reinstall the chain guard. Torque the rear axle to proper setting. You can find that value in your owner's manual or just Google it. Reinstall the exhaust and the pillion foot pegs if you need to. And that's it. I went on a motorcycle trip this summer. You can see links to those videos up here, and I am definitely glad I took the Honda motorcycle instead of the Bonneville on that road trip, as I would have definitely run into the flat tire somewhere on the road, as I got it shortly after I got back. Now, not to say I couldn't have dealt with that flat tire somewhere on the road, but obviously it would have been a much bigger headache than not having a flat tire in the first place. Because of that, and after listening to a Revzilla podcast with Zach Kortz, I am definitely purchasing a flat tire repair kit before my next road trip, just something I can store on the Honda motorcycle indefinitely under the seat. So stay tuned for that video in the near future. But thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.